Hey everyone, Kevin here. Today's topic: how are interviews different outside of teaching? Well, simply, they can be considerably different. Now, the exact interview experience you have will naturally vary based on the career you are going into and the policies of the company you're applying to. That being said, though, let's first remind ourselves of what the majority of interviews back in education were like. You probably applied to a teaching position and then didn't hear anything for a while. Eventually, they set up an interview with you, the principal, the assistant principal, and someone else from the school or district. They then asked you about extremely basic classroom management procedures and gave you some scenarios about students misbehaving where you were expected to just give them the answer they always wanted to hear, and you did. You were lauded for the type of degree you earned and the college you went to, rather than your experience or what you could bring to the table to enhance student outcomes. You gave them glowing letters of recommendation from people you knew where they just verified the information and rarely ever read them. Basically, did you check a box and be the warm body in the classroom while doing what they wanted you to do? Yes? Well, then you got hired. And that was it. Almost always, you just had a one and done interview with little real substance and were then thrown into the deep end without any meaningful onboarding unless you were some kind of specialist where they might have put you through a more rigorous interview process. In corporate, on the other hand, things couldn't be more different. Sure, there may be times where you have a one and done interview, but they're far less common. Usually, you're going to have at least three interviews, and the benefit of onboarding if you do get selected for a position. In corporate interviews, you will most likely have a screening interview with the recruiter, a full interview with the hiring manager, and then another with the head of the team you would be working with to verify that you would be a good fit. You may also be tasked with providing work samples and finishing a project, creating something given a sample situation to see your skills in action. The idea is to not only see if you would be a good addition to their team, but also to see if you can provide them a return on investment or ROI. They are going to be spending a great deal of money and time onboarding you and getting you started with the job, so they want to make sure you will make the company money. ROI is always considered in this process. That's why they rarely care where your degrees or certifications come from. They only care if you have the skills to do the job and have the ability to prove that you can. This is also why you will virtually never be asked for letters of recommendation in corporate, because they see them for what they are: glowing letters that don't really tell them anything. They want to see you actually doing what those letters are merely saying that you can do. You might be asked for references on occasion, but not anywhere to the degree you were in education. Frankly, I find the entire idea of letters of recommendation to be a bit of an antiquated concept anyway, which is why we need to be honest and say teaching interviews are often kind of a joke. As with most things in education, they were all about image and convenience rather than actual substance. Education has a there's always another one mentality, even though, let's be honest, that isn't really a reality anymore. And that mentality was only then reinforced by the draconian evaluations you were subjected to later on that made you feel even more expendable than you already were. Corporate is almost the exact opposite. They want to recruit the best people and to help them grow within the company. The different interview process alone shows that. Looking back at it, I felt so disingenuous in my teaching interviews. In my corporate interviews, on the other hand, I feel like I can be myself and be more personable. In a sense, they are easier in that regard, but your mileage may vary. But that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and as always, let me know if there's anything you need. See you next time.